One thing we're going to do throughout football season is the Farzy 5. All right, after every single game, we're going to talk about 5 people or 5 things that really stuck out to me in these games. That's how we're going to open the show. Now, on a game like this, I get to be happy. I get to be positive. I don't have to call 5 different people out for being terrible at their job. I get to call 5 people out for being great at their job. So let's applaud these guys right now. Let's start it off with Jonathan Gannon. And I'll tell you why we're going to start off with Jonathan Gannon. Because as I mentioned before, you talk about that defensive line allowing over 100 yards. That defense in total allowed over 100 yards in the first half alone on the ground. Come on, man. What? Especially when you talked about Fletcher Cox, you talked about Brandon Graham, you talked about Javon Hargrave, you talked about all the guys on this defensive line that were supposed to step up and make big plays for you. The only consistent defensive lineman from start to finish of this game was Javon Hargrave. The reason that the Eagles were able to keep on this team and stay on top of this team in the Atlanta Falcons was the second half adjustments made by Jonathan Gannon. No question, Jonathan Gannon actually made second half adjustments that made sure that his defense stayed on top of things in that second half. What did they do? Now, they were running a lot of 3-4 scheme, which was a little bit of a surprise to me and a lot of people, considering you knew they were coming in with a 4-3 scheme. You see 3 down linemen in a lot of cases. Now, you continued to see that in the second half, but what you didn't see in the first half that you did see in the second half was 8 men in the box. You rarely saw that. And when that was available, Matt Ryan made sure he checked down in the first half when it was available without 8 men in the box. He made sure he checked down to run plays with the 3 down linemen and made sure they were able to run it down the Eagles' throat. Second half, 8 men in the box. You weren't going to do that. Matt Ryan, also playing from behind, was forced to pass more, which actually played into the Eagles' strength because they were able to get pressure. Not a lot of sacks in this game. They certainly had them in the fourth quarter, but throughout the first 3 quarters, you didn't see a lot of sacks. You eventually saw that Javon Hargrave got to. It was good to see them actually come out of this game with 3 sacks in total. Now, when you watch this game play out and you watch those second half adjustments, that's what you want to be able to hang your hat on, because in the first half of a game, we could all be feeling down, we could all be feeling low, but if you know you actually have a defensive coordinator or in some cases a play caller and Nick Sirianni actually being able to make second half adjustments, it kind of makes you feel like, all right, well, they'll get it at halftime. They don't have it right now, but at halftime, they'll go in there. Coaches will talk, the individual player groups will get together, the position groups will get together, and they'll right the ship. They'll make the proper adjustments. And that's what I saw from Jonathan Gannon going into the second half. So he's one of the guys that's on my 5. The next guy up, I got to talk about Javon Hargrave. This guy, the way they started out this game, was not a way that I thought this defensive line would start the game. But there is one defensive lineman that was able to get it done from start to finish, and that was Javon Hargrave. And I was happy that he got the numbers, the pretty numbers, you might say, talk about, the show-off muscles, right? Talk about the big pecs, talk about the big arms and all that stuff for the beach muscles, right? Those are what a lot of numbers are in sports. And there's no really better example of that than the sack. I mean, we always talk about, you're not getting sacks, you're not really getting the quarterback. No, you can get pressures, you can make uncomfortable throws, and even more so than his 2 sacks in this game. The biggest play to me, again, was on the 3rd end goal in the first quarter, where Javon Hargrave put the offensive lineman on roller skates with 3 down linemen, by the way. Derek Barnett dropped back into coverage and also helps break up the play. But Javon Hargrave is the guy that just one-on-one bull rushed the guy in front of him and created the pressure on Matt Ryan that forced an early throw to Mike Davis and forced also the incompletion with 2 guys in on the coverage as well. That's what I wanted to see the entire game for the entire defensive line. The one guy that brought it for all 4 quarters, not just the second half, Javon Hargrave. And he was one of the players that addressed the media after the game. Loved what I saw from Javon Hargrave. Number 3 on my list goes, without question, to DeVonta Smith. Not only did he catch his first catch as a touchdown reception in the NFL, the guy just oozed confidence. There were 4 straight plays where Jalen Hurs fed him. 4 straight plays, by the way, which was after a key block on a Miles Sanders run to the outside. DeVonta Smith, he's too skinny. Oh, DeVonta Smith, don't they feed this young man? What do they need to give him some pasta? Put on the pounds, my friend. DeVonta Smith goes out there, throws a big block, holds his block for Miles Sanders on a run that got him about 8 yards. It wasn't a huge run by any means, but it doesn't happen unless DeVonta Smith holds a run block on the outside. The next 4 plays after that, DeVonta Smith goes out there and catch 4 passes for 34 yards to help them march down the football field and get a score. That's what you want to see from this football team. That's what you want to see from a rookie like DeVonta Smith. What do we always talk about? We talked about it in the preseason. We talked about it with a lot of young players. Look like you belong. That's all we're asking for. Don't look skittish. Don't look like it's the first time you're playing amongst men. You're a little boy playing against men. No, he was a man playing amongst men. That's what you want to see from a guy like DeVonta Smith. And when I mentioned the confidence that he was dripping throughout this game, we'll let you hear from him in a second. DeVonta Smith after this game, hey, DeVonta, when did you know that you were going to score that touchdown? When I saw man coverage. Damn, son, give me chills. I love that confidence. And it's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence. There's a fine line before it. I'll give you the fine line. Basically, here it is right now. Here's the fine line. The fine line is you win. It's confidence. You lose, cocky and arrogant. That's the fine line. That's pretty much all it comes down to it. And they won the game, so it worked out for them. So DeVonta Smith's number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list, pots and pans, Nick Sirianni. Look, the top 2 here for me. Nick Sirianni, let's go with number 2, but the top 2 have this in common. Nick Sirianni, he loses this game, or number 1, who I'm going to mention in a second, loses this game, all the doubt in the world manifests in the fan base. All the doubt in the world. Nick Sirianni can't coach. Nick Sirianni can't call plays. Nick Sirianni, I knew it from the opening press conference, his introductory press conference to the Eagles coach. Look, this guy sucks. He's too nervous, and he doesn't know what he's doing. But you win, and you call plays the way Nick Sirianni was calling plays with an extremely diverse skill set in every player out there, an extremely diverse setup, the way they were lining up, the way they called plays, bubble screens to the outside, running backs out of the backfield. They had an exotic formation actually set up for themselves in the first quarter as well. And then after the game, after you score 32 points, what do you say? Oh, this is just the start of it. You'll hear from Lane Johnson in a second, who joined me on the postgame show. I'm doing live postgame show with Derek Gunn and Devin Caney and John McMullen, and Lane Johnson, who'll join the show after every week on Jacob Media Network and 6ABC.com. One of the things Lane Johnson said was, this is, like in the first half, we didn't even do half the stuff that we wanted to do in that first half. This is the tip of the iceberg and how creative this offense is going to be. And you saw not just trusting a rookie like DeVonta Smith, you saw Kenny Gainwell get trusted on more than one occasion in the red zone. You allowed that rookie to go out there and eat. Milton Williams, the defensive lineman, even had a tackle in this game, a rookie 6th-round pick for the Eagles. All that stuff was great. I believe it's a 6th-round pick. All that stuff was great to see, but it all starts with Nick Sirianni. And it all starts with Nick Sirianni and his ability to call plays. The first time ever, by the way, as a game planner and game caller, he goes out there and he calls an extremely diverse game plan. An extremely diverse game. And a lot of it came down to, as he said after the game, confidence in his quarterback. That's what he wanted in this game. Confidence in his quarterback. And the way he was calling plays for Jalen Hurs certainly showed that confidence. It wasn't just coach speak after the game. You saw it in the game. The rollouts that he had, the passes downfield that he had, hitting Dallas Goedert the way he did in that end zone, finding rookies in this game. And I was just amazed. I was so pleasantly surprised by 2 of the coaches in this game. One who I mentioned at number 5, Jonathan Gannon. The other I mentioned at number 2 right here in Nick Sirianni. Could not be more impressed, could not be more pleased with the way they started out this season. And number 1 on my list, if I have a number 1 game ball to give away, Jalen Hurs. Jalen Hurs. This guy, everything I wanted to see from Jalen Hurs in this first game, I saw. And probably the most important thing, other than the escapability, the accuracy, athleticism, which obviously falls under escapability, was the muscle right here. How many times did we see Carson Wentz make the errant throw, try to fight for the extra yard when he was scrambling, not go out of bounds, not slide, dive head first, whatever it might be? How many times did we see that with Carson Wentz? And I know I shouldn't be comparing him to anybody else, but that's the last guy we saw play quarterback for this football team, really, before Jalen Hurts came in at the end of last year. But you saw smart plays by Jalen Hurts. If he did scramble, he got down. He didn't take the big hit. If he was rolling, no better example than in the first half when he's rolling to his right on the first 4th down attempt, and the play's a complete bust, and he rolls hard to his right, can't evade the defender, And just before he went out of bounds, instead of either taking the sack or just running out of bounds and playing it safe, he chucked the ball downfield. If he doesn't do that, then shortly before the half, Jalen Hurs is right there at the 50-yard line going out of bounds, handing the ball to the Falcons on the 48, pretty much, is where he would have ran out of bounds if he didn't get rid of that football. Smart heads-up plays. If you're the quarterback and you're a young quarterback, just don't hurt your team. If you play smart and you play heads up, odds are you're not going to hurt your team. And there was one quote from Nick Sirianni. I thought he summed it up well. I wrote it down. Be better at the things that require no talent. And for me, that means be smart. Like, I know, obviously, your brain can be a party for talent. I get that. But be better at the things that take no talent.